When God closes doors, it can feel like rejection, disappointment, or even punishment, but the truth is far deeper. You are not rejected, you are protected, and this understanding shifts the entire way we see setbacks, losses, and detours in our lives, because the God who sees the end from the beginning knows what lies beyond doors we desperately want to walk through. And in his wisdom and love, he sometimes shuts those doors to shield us from harm, heartbreak, or distraction from his greater plan. So what looks like a missed opportunity may in reality be divine intervention, keeping you from settling for less than his best. Think of Joseph, sold by his brothers, betrayed, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. Every door of freedom and family seemed closed to him, yet each closing led him closer to the palace where he would save nations and reconcile with the very brothers who once hurt him, showing us that God's closed doors are not the end, but often the preparation for something far greater. And consider how Paul prayed for God to remove his thorn in the flesh, yet God closed the door too. Healing, not because he didn't care, but because his grace was sufficient and his power would be made perfect in Paul's weakness, reminding us that sometimes God's no is actually a greater yes to his presence, strength, and sustaining power in our lives. And when we feel abandoned by friends, overlooked at work, or turned away in relationships, it is easy to believe we've been rejected, but often it's God's hand gently redirecting us, whispering, "This is not for you because I have something greater prepared." And if he allowed that friendship, job, or door to remain open, it may have led to heartbreak, compromise, or danger we couldn't see at the time, which is why Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and lean not on our own understanding, because our understanding is short-sighted, while his is eternal. And he has promised in Jeremiah 29 verse 11 that his plans are to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us hope and a future, which means that his no or his closed door is never to punish, but always to protect and redirect. And though in the moment it stings, just as a parent refuses their child something unsafe, God closes doors to safeguard his children, for he knows what lies beyond, whether it is temptation, false peace, wasted time, or a path that would have led us far from him. And sometimes we don't see this until years later, when we look back and realize that what we thought was rejection was really protection, a shield from something that could have destroyed us. And if you've ever been denied an opportunity, ended a relationship, lost a job, or felt overlooked, remember that closed doors are not the end of your story. They are simply part of the rerouting toward the destiny God designed. And sometimes he will close one door to move you into another room filled with blessings you never expected. But you must walk by faith and not by sight, because faith says, even if I don't understand, I will trust the God who does. And that kind of faith pleases him. For Hebrews 11 verse 6 tells us that without faith, it is impossible to please God. So when he closes doors, trust that he is leading you into something better. And don't waste time pounding on doors he has already locked, for the one who opens and no man shuts, and shuts and no man opens, Revelation 3 verse 7, knows exactly where you're meant to be.